Alright. Alright, welcome back. This is Bunny Hill devlog number 3. I'm in this one this time. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I've been making this game, and I thought, well, it's supposed to be, ultimately a multiplayer game. Some online stuff. I like the local co-op idea, but I don't know exactly how to do split screen yet, but it should be doable. I mean, I got this far and I don't know what I'm doing. But anywho, I should start making other characters. I took a lot of inspiration on the first character from a Christmas ornament, so I figured I'd take a lot of the next inspiration for the next character from a stuffed animal. So I got this monkey stuffed animal, and I made this monkey. My friend James gave me the sick idea to make him like a banana with like a sticker, so that the accent color would be like the sticker of the banana. And his skis kind of emulate like a banana, so they're yellow. But I want to have a wide range of like mobility options, so it'll be like snowboard, like big sled, skis, obviously, that kind of stuff. So that'll be pretty cool. Last week we left off with this, and I still hadn't got, so for the terrain generation, looking back at what I originally thought, I was kind of thinking in chunks where it would load chunk after chunk.
And to do that, I thought it'd be a good idea to have a brief explanation of some game development stuff.
So everything in the game is a game object, whether it's the character, the player, like say it's a first-person shooter, you have the character, the gun, the camera, the bullets, like all of those things are game objects. Every game object has a hierarchy, so it's a parent object and then it has children objects. Child objects could be anything from like the mesh to the armature for, say, the character, like the bunny, he's got the armature, and then the child of the armature are all the bones, and all the bones are, weight painted and stuff like that. And this is all controlled in Unity, at least in the inspector. So you'd have the mesh renderer, the rigid body, capsule collider, all the stuff that deals with collision, physics, all your scripts that control everything. You put them on a game object. It also has a tag, which is very important, so that things can be like general. So like, collide with an object of given tag and you will ragdoll. As you'll see later, I implemented this kind of system and I used a tag to kind of sort it out. Prefabs are really important because they are essentially game objects that are like preset. So you can make a game object and then use it or instantiate it multiple times and it'll be the same object instead of a unique one. So it's kind of like copy and pasting a game object or having like a pre-made thing loaded up already. So what you can do is make a game object with the hierarchy structure, but all of those things in the hierarchy will already be prefabs. So that's called a nested prefab. So a good example of the nested prefab is the terrain chunk that I made. It's got the terrain, it's got a bunch of gates, it's got a bunch of props. All of those things are prefabs that already have all of their mesh renderers, colliders. If they have rigid bodies, they have rigid bodies, stuff like that. It's all settled kind of at its own level and then implemented up. And instead of having to meticulously like make a ton of unique scenarios, you can kind of make things on like a general basis. And that's really the goals, because you want to have things be easy to implement and then also work with the broader system as a whole. So that's like a general explanation. Of course, I'm not that optimized and I don't really know exactly, the most efficient ways to do things. So just kind of going at it. Made this start chunk and you can ski. I made a snowball with a trail and you can see all these props around. So none of these props have hitboxes yet, and it still just generates the same chunk of terrain over and over because I made the chunks a big square, and then I made the sides elevated, so they're kind of like this big ribbon shape, and then it's just progressively generated at the correct spacing. So eventually I'll be able to generate a bunch of different chunks, but for now I just have one. So here is that chunk. it's got, as you can see, the gates in it and trees and stuff like that, like I was saying, and it has walls so that you can't get out. And then each of those little gates is its own prefab, and each of those little, fences is one as well. And the gates have the speed boost zone in between the two pillars, which are also prefabs. So you can see how the nested prefabs get really important. As for the generation, there's the slope and the race length, and the script iterates through the race length and spawns a chunk for, the number of chunks, which is the race length, and then angles it at the slope, which is the given slope. So you can actually change these, and I'm thinking of adding like a thing that says at the beginning, like, oh, do you want a long race or a short race? That kind of thing. I added more types of speed boosts because the boost gates were they give you a good boost, but it's not really enough. I don't want to get like super fast. So yeah, I made these speed flags and boost rings so that there's more opportunities to gain speed in the game. Because the goal is to get down the mountain as fast as possible. Nothing has like any effect on the player except it kind of pushes you around. So I wanted to change that as the next thing I did. I implemented the ragdoll, and it's perfect. After a while, I actually got it working pretty well, and he kind of slides off stuff, but he just keeps going forever. It kind of looks like it hurts though. It's pretty funny. So after the rag time is up, he spawns back at his location. The ragdoll works by toggling off all of the normal stuff like the animator and all the scripts that tell him to move and stuff, and enabling all of the collision boxes that act as the ragdoll. So it just switches it on and off basically. Because he kept spawning in the thing and kept hitting it, he needs some sort of invincibility. So once he respawns, I gave him some invincibility, so he'll go through the next thing, and then he'll be on his way. Oh yeah, I messed with the camera smoothing speed, and it kind of gives a cool cinematic thing, but yeah, whenever you hit anything that's tagged as a hazard, like the trees or other things like that, it will actually hit him, so like this stump. I also made it so that you pick up back where you left off, so when you run into something like the wall and fall down, you actually spawn where you fell to. I got working on a third type of boost for the ramps that are like a load boost, so whenever you're in the hitbox of the boost, it'll keep speeding you up as opposed to the other boosts that are just like one-time speed ups. So the boost ramp really gets you going. Here's the comment part.